All right, another straight shot. Christian McCaffrey looked very explosive at the 49ers' first open practice of this 2025 season. And those trying to tell you that he looks slow, just keep in mind that those were the same people who were trying to tell you that Trey Lance looked better than Brock Purdy and Sam Darnold at 49ers training camp. Some reports can be trusted, others can't. And in the case of Christian McCaffrey, consider that every single reputable reporter is saying that he looked explosive out at that practice. And let's just zoom out. The last time that we saw Christian McCaffrey on a football field prior to this practice on Thursday was against Buffalo. Remember how good he looked in the first quarter of that game in the snow before he injured his knee? I think that a lot of people are mistaking the injury itself. They're remembering the Achilles, which was obviously tremendously problematic, and they're thinking that's what Christian McCaffrey injured against the Bills, but it was a totally separate injury. It was his PCL. It was a knee injury, and he might have even been healthy enough to return to the playoffs had the 49ers made it last season. The bottom line is that he has recovered from the Achilles tendonitis. Whatever treatment that he sought, he's back on the horse. And he had recovered from the Achilles tendonitis by the time of that game against Buffalo, where he was so explosive. He looked like his 2023 self. So it's not surprising that Christian McCaffrey now, with several months of training, because he was healthy near the end of that 2024 season, with several months of training, is back to his Offensive Player of the Year self. Caught several passes out of the backfield yesterday. The handoffs that we saw, he loves to just sprint even after the whistle all the way to the end zone. It's a Bobby Turner special. Christian McCaffrey embodies it perhaps better than anyone. The 49ers often talk about having to protect Christian from himself because he works so hard. That might have been behind the Achilles injury, behind the tendonitis, just his insane work ethic. Well, every single chance that he has to bust his tail, put on a sprint at practice, work really hard, he does it. And we saw that. We saw the cutting ability. We saw the explosion. It looked a whole lot like either 2023 or that Buffalo game where he finally regained his full speed coming off the Achilles injury. And that's excellent news for the 49ers entering this 2025 season. Consider the fact that they have lost Deebo Samuel, who was one of the adaptable specialists of this offense. He was a guy who was catching the football and he was also running the football. Christian McCaffrey is obviously Mr. Versatility himself. The pressure on McCaffrey to be able to deliver adaptably for the 49ers offense this year is even more immense without Deebo Samuel on the football team. I will say that throughout all the offseason events that I covered for the 49ers, and I talked to a lot of people surrounding the team, and this is the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, the owners meetings in West Palm Beach. There was so much reliance and so much talk about Christian McCaffrey returning healthy and how much that can help this 49ers offense, because people know the biggest deficiency of the offense last year was the lack of separation. I've brought this up time and time again. 49ers ranked number 32, dead last in average separation at the time of catch. Go back to what Kyle Shanahan has said about Christian McCaffrey being like Steph Curry. He has gravity out on that football field. His ability to threaten via a pass pattern or threaten via the run game puts defenses in a bind because they don't know what's coming. And his ability to explode at any time for a big gain in either the pass game or the run game means that defenses are constantly shading toward him. Look at what happened to the Warriors when Steph Curry went out this year. They couldn't win a single game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's not just the scoring that Steph Curry put up, it's the impact that he has on the Warriors' other weapons. They're more open as a result of his presence. Well, the same thing happened to the 49ers last season. No Christian McCaffrey, no space for anybody else to operate. So he alone represents so much of the hope for San Francisco moving forward. And I can tell you, our initial look at him on Thursday, he has not slowed down. And he still has the technical know-how that separates him from a great athlete and turns him into a future Hall of Fame type of player. Brock Purdy was looking for Christian very frequently as a check down. And, even if it's not the third or fourth read check down, the ability of McCaffrey to threaten as an early read angle route out of the backfield, again, completely changes both how defenses have to think about the 49ers and how Brock Purdy can think of the football game. There's a reason why these two guys were both MVP finalists in 2023. The interplay is excellent between these two players. And, in the case of Purdy, that 2023 season actually saw a shorter average depth of target than 2024. So when he was peak efficiency, he was not necessarily checking down, but he was going to Christian McCaffrey on shorter passes more often. In 2024, when the separation was non-existent for the 49ers, he had to push the envelope, push the ball downfield more often. And obviously, there might have been a little bit more boom in those scenarios, but a whole lot more bust in those scenarios as well. There were games like the Patriots game in Week 4 where Purdy completed a whole bunch of deep passes, and it was fine for the 49ers offense, but boy, McCaffrey brings a real floor as the lifeblood of this pass game. And you can trust me, you can trust the reputable reporters out at practice. He definitely has that burst, and he'll probably see some of the talk that we're seeing, some of the nonsensical stuff on social media. Wouldn't be surprising to see Christian McCaffrey turn that into fuel for this upcoming 2025 season. This is the 49ers alarm update. We're obviously at SFO about the Border Red Eye. I take these flights overnight so that way you have content over the morning. The San Francisco Standard article is up, went through everything at this practice for the 49ers. McCaffrey was on as one of his hustle sprints. That's been a trademark of his at practice. Mykel Williams was trying to chase him down. That made Chris Kasarik really happy. That's something that Fred Warner even commented about later. He said that Mykel Williams has actually talked about just wanting to hustle, wanting to chase the ball down on the backside. And Warner said, I'm not used to seeing that out of a first-round pick, somebody big school at Georgia, a lot of spotlight on him. Normally those guys, it's the dirty plays, they're not going to really be in full effort on that. Those guys are going to be more worried about the flash opportunities, not Mykel Williams. And I think Mykel has that in common with Christian McCaffrey, who was also a first-round pick. McCaffrey entered the league with first-round talent, but an undrafted free agent's mentality. And he continues to have that now. We saw that on the practice field, and the 49ers are obviously very fortunate for it. So OTA session number 1's in the books. We've got our 49ers alarm update in the books as well. Time to fly across country. That sets the record on Christian McCaffrey straight.